Hello again, and welcome to our Backyard Vineyard Project. We are building the Gavilan Hills Vineyard here at Paradise Ranch. Please click the link in the bottom corner and join along with us. Our 5-year mission is to seek out quality grapes and a perfect bottle of wine, and to boldly go where we have not gone before. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to follow along and help us out on our quest. The princess of the house, if she sees this portion of the video, will completely disavow and disown us completely. So I need your help. Please click below and follow along. Hello and welcome back. This is chapter 3. We're going to be setting our wood posts for the vineyard, our end posts and support posts and vineyard posts, whatever you want to call them. If you remember in the last video, we went through and set up the vineyard. We put stakes in the ground, put in string, laid out the rows where we wanted the rows to go, figured out where the vines are going to be placed, and things worked out pretty good on all that. So back there where you see each stake, we're going to put one post where each one of those stakes are. As I mentioned before, we're not going to be using the T-bar metal stakes here. The metal stakes they're just not pleasing. They're very industrial looking. They don't look nice, and it goes against some of our goals we have set for the vineyard, where we want the vineyard to be very pleasing and very nice looking. There are pros and cons. Obviously, the stakes theoretically will last forever. Wood posts can rot, but I believe that the method I'm using to install these posts should last 20 years. It's what I've been using for the last 20 years, and I have posts that I know that are still in place that I put in place 20, 25 years ago. So I'm using 2 different posts for the vineyard. This post here, which is about 4 inches in diameter, 8 feet long, I'm going to use on the end in some sections. I've only bought about a dozen of these. These cost about $8 to $9 a piece. And I only bought, I think, a dozen of them, because I'm going to put them right in the walkways when you walk up. So when you look at the posts, it'll look a lot like you see in the large vineyards. The large vineyards have these big 6-inch posts at the end of their rows. And if you ever want to, go to YouTube and look up those. I think I'll try and find a link and put it below. Look for those machines. There are these huge pile driving machines that they actually use in the large vineyards to drive that 6-inch post in the ground. It's pretty amazing. Anyway, we're going to be using these just on the ends. They're 8 feet long, and they'll be in the ground 2 feet, so we'll have 6 feet above the ground. Now on the other post, these posts are really called landscape timbers. Both posts are pressure treated in what are called severe weather. Now they will crack. Like for example, this one, if you can see it, see there's a crack right there. As they dry out in our dry weather, they will crack. They will also try to warp and bend a little bit, but that will be offset when we put the wires through it. The wires should help hold them in place, I believe. So each one of these posts, what I have done is I've marked the post at 2 feet, and then on the bottom 2 feet we added a preservative. I put 2 layers or 2 coats of this preservative that I'll talk about in a second. And then I'll set this post in the ground, and once it's in the ground we'll have 2 feet above, or 6 feet above ground. These are interesting posts because if you look at them, they are flat on 2 sides and round on 2 sides. It's actually 3 inches by 2 3/4 inches, so it's about 3 inches. Makes it really nice because I'm setting it up so that when I put them in the ground, the wires will go through the post here and come out the other side on the flat side, and then the round side is really what you're going to see as you're looking at it, to give you the optical illusion that they're round all the way around. So it looks kind of cool. When I set the posts in the ground, we're going to be setting them using a method that's used quite a bit around our area. Now remember I told you we had very dry weather. So our posts don't get real wet. They won't be sitting in water for extended amounts of time, which means that they won't rot as much. There's an article in the familyhandyman.com or Family Handyman magazine that lays this out really nicely, and I'll put a link in the show notes below. It shows the best way to set posts in our environment in concrete. We're going to put an aggregate on the bottom, some gravel on the bottom, set the post up a little bit into that aggregate, and then from there up will be concrete. It says also you should be 2 to 2.5 times, I think, the width of the posts. So our posts are 4 inches and 3 inches. I'm using an 8-inch auger, so the holes are big enough to hold them. Now the preservative that I'm using is something, I got this over at Lowe's. It's called Copper Green. The active ingredient, I'm not going to try and pronounce, I'll put it across the bottom, is used in this type of method because it gets rid of or it kills termites and any insects that try to get to the wood. So by putting 2 coats of this on the bottom of the post and then setting the post in our aggregate in the ground, putting concrete around it, these posts should last 20, 30 years, especially in our environment because it's so dry, they don't ever really sit down in moisture at any length of time. Now there is one other little thing. In that article it talks about caulking the top of the post where it goes into the concrete. Caulk in this dry weather doesn't work well. So I've got a secret, and I'm going to show you that later. I've got a little secret that I use that have worked for me for a long time, and will seal this stuff up and you won't have any problem at all. So you'll have to stay tuned for that little secret. So we've got about 55 posts, wood posts, we're going to have to set between the end posts and the support posts for the vineyard. We're going to have to do 55 of these. Then you add in 200 vines. 200 vines, that puts me at 255, but each one of the vines, we're going to use the 6-inch auger and we're going to dig 2 or 3 holes at each vine because I want those holes to be 12 to 15 inches around, and we'll get into that when we start digging the holes. So I added that up and I said, I'm not doing that by hand. So I looked around and I found this auger on Amazon. I looked at Home Depot, Lowe's, Harbor Freight, Tractor Supply. They were $300, $400, $500, and none of them came with multiple bits, which I thought was interesting. You'd have to buy an auger and then buy all the additional bits. This one cost me, I think it was $260 on Amazon. It's called a Pump Plus, I'm assuming. I think that's what you would call it, but it's a no-name. We looked in the owner's manual, couldn't find anywhere where it even said where this thing is made. It comes with a 4-inch bit and, look at the cute little bit, a 6-inch bit, and it's got the 8-inch bit on it. It's been running pretty well. We did break off one of the teeth on the 8-inch bit, but it still digs and does what it needs to do. So let's go ahead and go dig some holes, shall we? Join me. Let's go, Fiona, come on. Okay, here we are. We're gonna dig 5 holes actually. If you look up there, probably can't see very well, there are a few posts already set. I'm gonna dig this one out with the auger. Haven't started, we'll see how far we get on this. We've been hitting a lot of rocks all the way, so let's see what we've got. I already started up earlier, so it should start up pretty easy. Okay. Yep. Well, that was a little easier than I expected. When we go down about 18 inches, I'm hitting DG, and it really slows down. It doesn't want to dig very well. But that one dug pretty good. I think that's about it, Edward. I have a 24-inch mark right there. It's down about 20 inches. I think once I dig it out, it's going to be okay. So let's do the other, let's go ahead and do the other 4 up the hill. See what happens. Well, only 26 more to go. See if we can make it. Damn. All right, let's clean these out and set some posts. I'm digging those 5 holes hurt my back a little bit. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to move the excess dirt away from the hole. And I don't want it to get mixed up in the mulch. I pulled the mulch back because when we get all these things in, I'm going to reuse the mulch. So I've got it back so I know where my ground level is. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to dig out some dirt. Okay, you can kind of see what I'm pulling out is that hard DG that's down underneath there. When they built the house, they brought in a hard pan to build the house on. And that's right where it's at right there. So about 24 inches right there. I think that's what we're gonna go with. We got 24 inches deep. Now I need to get some aggregate, some concrete in the post. Okay, this post is one of the big 4-inch posts, round posts we have. The reason is I've got one here, I've got one there, and I've actually got 2 on the other side right behind you. You're sitting in where our stage usually is. I'm rebuilding the stage is too small. The concert we usually have every year, usually we only have a couple people in the band. This year we've scheduled a band with 6 members, so I've got to increase the size of the stage to be able to fit 6 people. So I wanted, like I said, I wanted these posts to be where people are looking. So when you're looking at the stage, you're standing next to the stage, this is what you're going to see. Sorry, this is what you're going to see heading up the hill with all the other posts. The wires will come in here, come out, and go through each one as they go up the hill. So anyway, this post is going right here in the ground. Remember from our little diagram, the first thing we do is we have to get aggregate down there. So what we do, I've got some rock that's actually in the way that I've been moving, like 3/4 inch, and I'm using this 3/4 inch rock, and typically, that's about right. Typically I put in about 4 inches of rock, pick the post up a little bit, and you can feel it as the rocks, there we go, as the rocks go up underneath. I put a little bit more rock in. And now we got a good aggregate on the bottom. I got a post that's sitting there, got my level. Stay up there, stay right there. Here we go. So now I'm gonna pour in the concrete. and I'll pour in the concrete. This is the kind of concrete that allows me to pour it in dry just the way it is, and it will set up. It actually pulls moisture from the ground, and then I'll put a little bit on top as well. And you'll see, like with that one up there, I think you can see it. I did this one a couple days ago. Look at that sucker, it is in the ground and not moving, so works out pretty good that way. So let's put this in. A bit of concrete. Oops, I forgot. Be right back. Got to get something. Okay, I'm back. Forgot my tamper. Use a 2x4, and as the concrete goes in the hole, I tamp it down on all sides. You get a nice, hard, and consistent fill of the concrete. And I want to fill it so it goes above the ground, above the ground level. Gives me a little dome on top. That's about right. So, fill it around, tap it in. And a little dome on top. Let's see how we are with being level here. Yep, pretty good. See how we are here. Pretty good there. Pretty good. I'm always pretty good at getting those level just from sight. Okay, that's in. Okay, that post is set and ready to go. And I'll come back in a few minutes and I'll put some water on top. But that's all. It's pretty simple. It's in. A little lower than that one. Over there is that one, a little lower behind it. So it's all pretty consistent. Now, if you look at the ones we've already gotten this, I only have 26 more to go. So we've had a slight delay in our project. The weather has not been favorable for the last month. We've had some pretty cold temperatures, as I mentioned. We're getting better. Today it's going to be about 70, 72. Currently it's about 68. So it's getting to a weather that's better for us to work outside. I'm expected to be 75 for the next week or two. So mid-January and it's 75 degrees. That's where it should be. Well, we're right down to the end. I had to pull in some help. Brought my son Brandon in to help me dig the last few holes and move some concrete. 30 bags of 90-pound concrete and 55 posts. We figure a little over 3,000 pounds. We had to carry it from the front yard out here. So I'm glad he was here. Younger muscles are a lot better than mine. We're at the last post. This is the last post, the 55th post out of this whole thing. When you look at this post, you'll see that my mark, I know you can't see it, my mark is about 2 inches down inside the hole. That's my 24-inch mark. So that way I know how much aggregate that I'm going to put down underneath the post. So as I pour in my aggregate, Now I want the flat side to point towards the other post that I'm putting in. My round side is out towards people will see. Sitting here pretty straight. Now it's still down low, so I'm going to pull up on it until it gets up to about ground level. Now I'm at ground level. Now that I know I've got about 2 inches, maybe a little bit more of aggregate down under the post, which is what I want. That's about right. I can see I'm coming up on it. It's holding my post up. So now I need to put in some concrete. Let's put in my concrete. Putting in these things have been taking about 3/4 of a bag as I put them in for each one. Like I said, we went through 30 bags of 90-pound concrete for the 55 posts. And let's see, that one's pretty good there, and we are right on right there. Get a little more concrete in so I can get my dome. And about 3/4 of the bag. Put my dome up around it. And then I'll go through and add a little. There we go, that's good. That'll work. And then I'll go through and put my secret topping on top of it here when I'm done. All right, that one's in, set and ready to go. So we've got 55 posts, all set and ready to go. The only thing I got to do now is put my secret topping on top, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. I'll show you what I mean by that. And then next step will be to run my trellis wire. So, thank you. Well, good afternoon. It was supposed to be 75 degrees today. We're in the mid-70s. And it's windy and barely 65, so bear with me on this. One of the things that I mentioned earlier was my secret for the last step. When you put the posts in the ground and the concrete around it, the two dissimilar surfaces, the concrete and the wood, there's a gap across the top where moisture can get in. Now I don't have a whole lot of problem with a lot of moisture around here, but I do have an issue because water will get in and may cause some rot to happen, and I want to stop it. They mention in the article to put caulk around the top. Now I don't like putting caulk around the top because caulk dries out really badly here in our dry climate. So what I use is good old Flex Seal. You see the guy on TV all the time. I've been using this product for a long time. But you simply, I've already put some on, but you simply just spray around the top like this. And right there where the wood and the concrete come together, there's a gap. This will seal that gap up. You don't have a problem with the heat. And once I cover it up, it's gonna look really good. So that's just my little thing. I know it's kind of silly, but I'm telling you, this is one of the best products around. But it does seal the top of the posts. I'm not going to get any moisture in there, and these posts should last me 20, 25, I'm hoping 30 years, but we'll find out. Well, that's the end of chapter 3. By far, probably the most physical section in this whole project. We wore Fiona out for sure. She was chasing me up and down the hill a whole bunch. And Simon, he never stopped walking every day. Please follow us as we go through this adventure. We would love to have you follow us along. Until next time, this is Jeff, signing out. Goodbye. Say goodbye. Come on. Say goodbye. Ready? Time to leave. I want to read you the operations section of the user manual for this auger. Operation, follow along here. Operation, before start. Promise the surroundings, no man and animal. Now people give me a hard time. People give me a hard time because I talk to my animals. I talk to my equipment. I figure if I talk to it, it's going to work for me. Just like anything else. You talk to the plants, talk to the animals, everybody's happy. I want you to meet Lucille. I think Lucille has her own personality. Promise the surroundings, no man and animal. Not quite sure what I'm promising to Lucille yet. Check the earth auger in detail. Promise it in the safe appearance. Now, I've got to tell Lucille all the time that she looks good and her appearance is good. 3, beat the accelerator switch to the lowest position. Beat the accelerator. So I have to beat Lucille. I don't know, she might be into some kind of dominatrix, S&M stuff. Number 4, have to make the earth auger with the adding fuel place to keep it at least 3 meters distance. I'm assuming it's telling me that I have to stay 3 meters, 9 feet away while I'm putting gas into the adding fuel place. Two, let's start this thing. Put the stop button on the starting position. Push the fuel injecting pump continuously until the fuel is full. Fuel flows out of the transparent tube. So obviously, you prime the pump until you see fuel going into the carburetor. Regulate the choker. Now Lucille must need a choker collar. Regulate the choker to close position in winter and at the first time to full open position when the engine is hot. Obviously, turn the choke on when it's cold. Number 4, pull the starter lightly 3 to 5 times to make the fuel into the cylinder. See, it's really hard to read this when the English isn't good. Pull the starter lightly 3 to 5 times to make the fuel into the cylinder. Then pull it fast to start the engine. Note, the after start, the start rope should be contracted back slowly with the hand's help. If the rope contracts back fast, it may cause damage of the starter. We wouldn't want to damage Lucille, would we? It gets better, I'm telling you. 5, after start, put the choker slowly to the open, sorry, I can't read this. After start, put the choker slowly to full open position. In other words, turn the choke off. Sorry, Lucille. You and chokers. I gotta break you, I've got to whip you, and I've got to put a choker on you. Look at the next one. This is 6. Regulate the fuel handle to a proper position to run at low speed for 3 to 5 minutes. Then make spraying operation. New machines should not work at full open position within the first 4 hours. The speed should be controlled at 4,000 to 5,000 revolutions per minute, I'm assuming, thus enabling the engine to have a good match and do reliable work. And how the hell do I know how many 4,000 revolutions is? Good old Lucille. You're doing well. 3, shut down. Beat the accelerator switch to the lowest position to revolve more than 30 seconds. I'm assuming that's 30 seconds. I'm sorry. Beat the accelerator control switch to the lowest position to revolve more than 30 seconds. I have no idea what that means. I'm assuming it's telling you to turn it off because it's under shutdown. Number 2, close the stop button to make the gasoline machine stop. Oh, I'm sorry. Number 1, it says beat the accelerator control switch to the lowest position. Then it says close the stop button. Oh, God. Then, here's the best part about Lucille. Warning number 1. Suggest use a low vibration, the low voice mode. I have to whisper to Lucille, honey, you gonna work this time? I'm assuming I have to whisper to Lucille. Suggest use a low vibration, the low voice mode. Sorry. And the last warning, operate time continuously can't be over an hour each time. Okay, from experience, you run this sucker for an hour, you won't be able to walk for about 2 days. That's one of the best user manual descriptions that I have read in a long time. What do you think? Give me some comments below.